Oh, hey, yeah, it's me. I do that thing that's called Pokemon reviews, right? Oh, how about that Diantha episode?
Pokemon! 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 Pokemon!
Hello, everyone. I'm Dustin Benzel, and welcome to another Pokemon XY&Z anime discussion. If you've seen my Twitter, you know how I feel about this particular episode in regards to the Phantump episode. So, of course, this is just going to be a very short summary, short review, and then we can get into the more important things in life, which are the other episodes. So anyway, basically the plot of this particular episode is Team Rocket anger Phantump, shiny Phantump bonks on Ash's head after falling, and Ash and company relocate shiny Phantump to try and find its friends. Team Rocket hijinks occur with Ralt's family dress up and Phantump dress up. All the Phantump in the world apparently come together and save everyone. And Shiny Phantump is with its friends at the end of the episode, and that's basically the end of the episode. So anyway, on to the Diantha episode. Just kidding. So if you see any images, they're most likely just cool scenes that I thought were interesting, so you'll just see them for a couple of seconds and move on, but they won't actually be relevant to what I'm trying to say. For the most part, I might reference something or whatever, and you can be like, oh yeah, I saw that image in this particular video, but this is just one of those reviews where I just talk about the episode and nothing really specific to stand out. So anyway, let's get into the things that I'm not really sure I liked about this episode and some other things that aren't necessarily negative, but those are very little. But anyway, moving on. If this episode wasn't about Phantump, let alone a shiny, important Phantump that was supposed to be important, I would have been fine with this episode. If Bonnie would get away from the Phantump, I would have been fine with this episode. If Ash actually went after the real shiny Phantump, while Clement and Bonnie and Serena went after Jessie and the fake shiny Phantump, I would have been fine with this episode. So, as you can see, my bitterness and saltiness of this episode is why I dislike this episode a lot. But if I try so hard to ignore my feelings and bottle them up and objectively think about this episode, the episode wasn't bad. But, my feelings of Phantump is why this episode was bad, but that's not really relevant to the episode. So, if you're not bitter like me, and enjoy Phantump normally, and don't care if Ash were to get a Phantump or not, this episode might be up your alley and you might like it. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know you. I only know me, So some other non-related to Phantump not being captured by Ash criticisms. Why is Ash being portrayed as a complete moron in some of these episodes? This also applies to the Clement almost getting married episode, but I do not appreciate when there's a circumstances of Ash where he could use his Pokemon, and he has some really nice Pokemon to save the day or to save something, but he does not do it because of plot convenience or because the plot says so. Ash couldn't save Phantump from Team Rocket, and Ash could not save Pikachu because in this particular episode, it had to be all the Phantump in the world saving Pikachu from Team Rocket. Because, of course, in the beginning of the episode, Team Rocket had a little encounter with all the Phantump in the world for the most part. Not all in the world, but, in the area or whatever. Sorry, I keep saying all in the world. And it's just like in the Clement episode where it had to be Clement to save Bonnie. And and this one I feel like is a lot worse because he didn't even bother to save Pikachu outside of Pikachu used Thunderbolt. Ash, I'm pretty sure by now you should know that that doesn't work when Pikachu is in a hamster ball or a crystal ball or whatever you want, a glass ball, whatever it is. You would think that wouldn't work. I guess it doesn't hurt to try because sometimes Team Rocket are idiots or whatever. But and then he just let Team Rocket go away. He's like, huh. It's like I don't have any other Pokemon that can save the day. Oh well, bye Pikachu. I'll try and find you later, when suddenly I go to the Pokemon Center and actually get my Pokemon that I left because I apparently didn't have any on me. But suddenly then the plot happened and here comes a whole bunch of Phantumps saving the day. It's really annoying. And the thing that makes this a little worse is that everyone was supposed to save Phantump, but all the other Phantump, not shiny Phantump, saved the shiny Phantump, and then all the Phantump and the shiny Phantump had to go and save Pikachu. It was kind of a weird episode that way, but whatever. So anyway, moving on. The next one is Team Rocket. Team Rocket need to learn to get blasted off for an episode and stay out of the rest of the episode, because this episode, for whatever reason, was heavily Team Rocket centric a little bit, because they had the beginning of the episode and they had the very end of the episode, and it was very ridiculous. I mean, sure, it's not like they actually got blasted off until the end, but they pretty much failed trying to get shiny Phantump and fell off a cliff because they're morons. That's the only way I can describe them at this point. But then they came back and was like, oh, hey, we're going to do this properly and not fall off a cliff again because, well, that wasn't supposed to happen the first time, but it happened anyway. And the only good positive things I can say about Team Rocket in this episode is, of course, that Wobbuffet was dressed up as Ralts, which was absolutely hilarious because I'm really surprised no one actually realized that, hey, wait a minute, why is that Ralts bigger than Curlia? Why is it bigger than Gardevoir and Gallade or whatever? That's pretty much all I really have to say. Oh, and then of course at the very end of the episode, although at that point I was really upset. Oh, and you also notice that I don't have a highlights for this episode. Yeah, I was very bitter watching the episode because of Bonnie. And so I wanted to spare you from that or whatever. But anyway, at the very end of the episode, at this particular point, I just wanted the episode to end. But we got a little humorous scene with Team Rocket. And I would probably be able to enjoy it if it wasn't this particular episode a little bit more. But Team Rocket were afraid because they heard some weird noises and they screamed like Team Rocket. And then they ran off and it turned out, hey, it was campers. So yeah, like I said, technically this wasn't a bad episode. It just was bad because it had Phantump in it and, every saltiness and bitterness and stuff, And given that Phantump is one of my favorite 6th gen Pokemon, I don't feel like they gave Phantump justice. This whole time of not using Phantump, and this episode feels like, oh, we haven't done Phantump. We need to do a Phantump episode. Here you go. And it's like this episode could have easily happened before because the only Pokemon that really showed up in this episode, if I remember correctly, that would make it so it only could be in an XY&Z episode was, of course, Puny-chan. And maybe Gorgeist as well, but I think Gorgeist actually evolved in right before X and Y and Z series or whatever. So yeah, it's not like this could have had this episode. Take away Puny-chan, and this episode easily could have been done before. And I kept thinking, this is what the payoff of waiting for a Phantump episode is. Not only give us a shiny Phantump, but nothing important happens, and this is the episode. This episode would have served a lot better purpose a long time ago and then it could be long forgotten by now. But nope, apparently this has to be here, because why not? So like I said, this is not what you do for Phantom, especially in regards to Bonnie. Now I know I've said this a couple of times, but I really, really disliked Bonnie in this episode because she needed to get away from Phantom. She could not. I just really wanted the episode to get. You get what I'm saying. But anyway, if you like Phantup and you don't really care about what the things that I care about or whatever in regards to Pokemon, then that's perfectly fine, and maybe you'll actually like this episode, but not me. So that's pretty much that particular episode, so let's move on. So the next episode is the more exciting episode, and I will try and do live highlights for that, and hopefully I won't be bitter about it. Unless, of course, Phantom just appears out of nowhere to cuddle with Bonnie, in which case, yeah, I'll probably just edit that out. But so anyway, the next episode is basically Ash versus Diantha, Mega Gardevoir versus Ash-Greninja. And in the trailer, there wasn't really a whole lot, but there was some interesting notes or whatever, so you'll see 3 pictures. I would like to do more, but it's basically just Greninja using attacks or whatever, so they weren't that exciting. And there's the Pokénechi preview, but I'm not going to get any images for that since I'm recording before Pokénechi happens, so that's just how it's going to be. So anyway, the interesting things about this are Diantha and a helicopter. Apparently Diantha flew in a helicopter to track down Ash and company because Diantha heard the prophecy about Kalos being in a great danger, and something about Ash's Frogadier or Greninja or whatever. I don't know if Olympia knows that Ash has a Greninja now. I mean, she is psychic, so she probably does figure that he has a Greninja. And it was like more clear probably when Greninja actually happened. So, of course, Diantha wants to battle against Ash-Greninja to see what's going on with that or whatever. So that's definitely interesting. So Olympia will probably be in the episode as well. Now the theory going around, and it's one that I thought of immediately when I heard that Diantha was in the episode, was that it's probably going to be a flashback, but since we've never seen Diantha and Olympia in the same episode, it's going to be new scenes, but it's probably going to be a flashback. Who knows, maybe we'll actually see Olympia in real time, and then later on Diantha will show up at Ash and Company or whatever. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Another interesting thing is Puny-chan is hiding. I don't know if suddenly Puny-chan is hiding a lot more, because there were all those episodes in regards to after Blue Zygarde Core was captured that Puny-chan was okay. It only started when Alon showed up, so I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if it was something that they were trying to add in the episode, but something got confused, because I only remember it really happening in the previous episode with Alon, when Alon was coming out and Puny-chan hiding. So it is very interesting that Puny-chan is being more distrustful around humans more and hiding more, indicating that there is something seriously wrong with there. So you'll see an image of Puny-chan not looking too happy, which is a little strange, because if Puny-chan was going to be happy about anyone, except Bonnie, of course, because they already have a bond, but you would think that if you were a Pokemon and you had some knowledge in regards to how the region that you are in, and you're very intelligent, kind of like Puny-chan is, you would assume that the champion of a region would probably be where you would want to be safe from if you were in danger or whatever. But maybe Puny-chan just doesn't trust anybody right now and doesn't really care. And of course, it's not like Puny-chan would have knowledge about Diantha. So even if they say, "Oh yeah, you're the champion of the Kalos region," I don't think Puny-chan is suddenly going to warm up to Diantha. So. And it may be for the sole purpose of, because seeing Puny-chan might indicate to Diantha that it's in relation to Zygarde 50% form, because that is one of the scenes that we're going to see in this episode is going to be Zygarde 50% form, and I think it's because of Olympia. We saw the image of Olympia with a Zygarde 50% form, so maybe Diantha could recognize Puny-chan as Zygarde 50% form or whatever, so maybe that's another reason why they're hiding, because they don't want them to be too connected at this particular point. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Speaking of which, whatever happened to the mysterious aspect of Puny-chan? I mean, Sycamore hasn't shown up. They're not showing Puny-chan more. More and more people are who see Puny-chan just like, oh, hey, okay. I mean, I'd have questions about that. I mean, I've never seen that before, but okay, it's like ever since Puny-chan showed up as 10% form, it's like the mysteriousness nature of Puny-chan has been put on the back burner, so it's kind of strange. Now, the most interesting aspect of this particular episode, and I could have swore this was going to be for Sawyer, but maybe something will happen against Sawyer, so that's probably why it's not going to be. This is the episode where Ash-Greninja loses its veil, and you'll see the best picture that I can get in regards to just Ash-Greninja with its giant water shuriken on its back. And it's really nice that this is the particular episode, so maybe this is where Ash-Greninja gets its full power, and that's what forces Diantha to use Mega Gardevoir, because if you remember my previous videos in regards to this episode, one of the summaries said, in regards to Pokemon Fan, I believe, said that Diantha is pushed in a corner that she has to use Mega Gardevoir. So maybe this is why, when it loses the Water Veil, maybe Ash-Greninja is that much faster and stronger, and that's what forces Diantha to become Mega Gardevoir. So I'm really looking forward to this episode a lot more than I was the Phantump episode, so I cannot wait for this episode, and I will enjoy it when it happens. So that's that particular episode. So then there's two more episodes I want to discuss. There's a new summary that I want to go over in regards to the Ash vs. Sawyer episode. Nothing really happened in regards to the Wolfric episode, and we have a new title. So let's jump right into the summary that I want to go over in regards to Ash vs. Sawyer. As Ash and his friends head towards Snowbell City to get the final gym badge, they once again meet Sawyer at a Pokemon Center along the way. Sawyer, who greatly admires Ash, tells him that he has worked hard towards the single goal of catching up with Ash and has already collected the badge. Ash decides to have a 3-on-3 battle with Sawyer to test how strong he has become, but Sawyer immediately loses. No, just kidding. that would make sense, but I just wanted to let you know about the summary because it basically says Sawyer has gotten all the 8 badges, so Sawyer didn't need to battle against Wolfric, didn't need to battle against Olympia, and didn't need to battle against Corinna's Mega Lucario. So, yeah, I'm sure Sawyer and his other badges, Viola or whatever badge he doesn't have, Grant, with his Sceptile, I'm sure Sceptile could easily take out Grant's Pokemon. But, so hey, Sawyer has all his badges. We don't have to worry about Sawyer not being able to enter the Pokemon League. But yeah, it is kind of weird that Sawyer suddenly has all of his badges while Ash is still on his way to get his final badge. And Ash has been trying to get his final badge for a very long time. It makes it obvious that they were purposely delaying Ash from getting his 8th badge just for this purpose, and it really doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, oh, hey Sawyer, you got badges. Well, funny thing is, I had to go to a master class with Serena, then I had to run into some other episodes, Team Rocket, they showed up, we're just right we're just like right there at Snowbell City, so could you come back to me afterward? No? Okay. Well, I still have only 7 badges, so yeah, it's a little disappointing that after all this huge gap that suddenly Ash is behind Sawyer because Sawyer was going straight to badge and didn't have to deal with all the things that Ash does. So it kind of makes it obvious in this particular instance that a lot of the people who are against the complaint that if Ash didn't have traveling companions, if Ash didn't have to deal with Team Rocket, Ash would be getting somewhere in his goal of becoming a Pokemon Master. But this summary seems to actually imply that that's actually the case in regards to how I feel. And I don't necessarily have a problem with Ash having traveling companions or dealing with Team Rocket, but when Sawyer was last with like 5 badges and Ash had 7, and then during that gap, Sawyer got 3 badges and Ash got 0 badges, that's the problem that I'm facing here, and that Ash would have already gotten his 8th badge and would have already probably surpassed Sawyer, but suddenly Sawyer is surpassing Ash just because of all this other stuff. It makes it really obvious that Ash is hindered by his traveling companions. The episodes that we get, those filler episodes, unrelated episodes, and Team Rocket hijinks, and whatever episode else is there. And it wasn't that long ago that we saw Sawyer. Like, I think it was like, 10, 20 episodes we last saw Sawyer with that Alana episode. So during that whole entire gap, Sawyer got 3 badges, but Ash still hasn't got his 8th badge. So that's just wanted to let you know. And of course, it'll be a 3-on-3, and of course, I've already mentioned this. Sawyer's going to use Sceptile, Doublade, and Klotzer. I'm really hoping for Greninja, Pikachu, and Noivern in this particular episode. Greninja, just because it's already confirmed Greninja is going to be in the episode. Noivern, because it's not going to get the gym battle. And Pikachu, because also it's not going to get the gym battle. This is the one battle that I'm okay with Pikachu being in. If Pikachu got into the 8th gym and took the badge, I'd be very upset. So I'm really happy that hopefully Pikachu will be against here. So what I would like in regards to the matchups is Noivern against Klotzer. I feel like is the best one because Pikachu against Klotzer I feel would be too easy, and I'm not entirely sure Noivern would be strong enough to take out Doublade, especially since at this particular point Noivern would only have access to Supersonic and Acrobatics because Boom Burst is completely resisted by Doublade's Ghost typing, as in it will do no damage whatsoever. So I feel like Klotzer and Noivern would be a better matchup. Pikachu against Doublade would be a lot better because Pikachu battled Honedge earlier. So I'm expecting maybe a straight up victory, and maybe Greninja, something happens to Greninja and it fails, and then Sawyer's Sceptile manages to knock out base form Greninja. So Ash will have 2 victories, but maybe Sawyer's Sceptile can beat base form Greninja, just so that Ash realizes he has some work to do with Greninja and try and figure out what's happening and try and get their bond together. So that's all I wanted to say in regards to Sawyer. Like I said, there's really not a lot I can say about Wulfric other than maybe we'll get a 2-parter, maybe. And the reason why I say this is because the following episode after the Wulfric episode is, of course, May 26th, the 20th episode of XY&Z, The Winding Woods, The Dawn of Evolution. Now, the image that's associated with this, of course, is from TV Tokyo, I believe, from their thumbnail of this particular episode. And, of course, what we see is Ash with a whole bunch of other Pokemon. So, what you're saying is this is the episode you decide to focus around Ash and these random wild Pokemon, but not the Phantump episode. Sorry, still bitter. Okay, but yeah, it's really nice to see that Ash is really this caring Pokemon trainer that actually cares for these Pokemon, except for Phantump apparently. So yeah, I think we see like Zigzagoon here. Let me actually look at the image. We see all of these cool Pokemon. None of them look like they're going to be captures, so So what I think this episode is primarily going to be about is, of course, the dawn of an evolution, and I think this is where it's going to be Ash-Greninja related, is my guess. I don't think anything else would make any sense. I mean, sure, it could be about Mewtwo, could be about Mega Abomasnow, it could really be about anything, but yeah. So in this image that we see of Ash and company, or just Ash, wearing something like a coat because it's cold, we see, of course, we see Scatterbug, I believe, let's see, yeah, Spupa, okay, so it's Scatterbug, Sentret, Budew, Oddish, and Zigzagoon. And that's really nice or whatever. It's just very odd, you know. You would think he would do it with like his own Pokemon or whatever, but this will definitely be a very touching, interesting episode. And I'm thinking this is going to be about Ash-Greninja. I think this is when they're going to figure out about Ash-Greninja, and then the following episode, where the data broadcast was Abomasnow, I think is going to be that second gym battle, whether it's a rematch or a continuation of the interruption that happened in the first episode. And this is the episode where we're going to get a complete Ash-Greninja versus Abomasnow episode, where Ash-Greninja completely demolishes Abomasnow and is the victor, and Ash gets his final badge. That's what I'm assuming. What I do not want is what other people have speculated, is that Ash gets his badge, then this episode is some random evolution episode. Maybe we'll get like Gloom, Linoon, Furret, Roselia, and Spupa, or even Vivian, and that's what this episode's about, and Snorlax. So I really feel that this is about Ash-Greninja, where they get together. Ash-Greninja pretty much masters its form, and then, of course, we get the rematch or the continuation of the interruption of the previous gym match, and Ash gets his gym badge. So, like I said, what I don't want is Ash to get his gym badge. Then we deal with this Dawn of Evolution in regards to the Winding Woods or whatever. And then, of course, the next episode is something relevant to Wolfric and his Abomasnow, or some random Abomasnow, you know? So that's what I'm really hoping. I guess we'll have to find out in regards to the titles. Let me actually check to make sure that a title was not revealed while I was doing this. Not from Cerebi. How about the forums? No, Abomasnow still does not have a title, so good. So that's all I wanted to say about this particular episode. I'm really planning on hoping to get a Pokemon starter thing. I wanted to do a separate video for Sun and Moon starters, what they would look like and what I would want, and I will, of course, talk a little bit about those trademarks that were found. I don't necessarily think that they're Pokemon. They could be Pokemon, but based on what they've been translated, I will discuss it a little bit or whatever. And I will try to make it as concise and short as possible as I can. I will do a lot of thinking beforehand, so that'll probably be my next Pokemon related video. Pokemon anime will probably, of course, any surprising upcoming episodes preview that happens, or if something surprising happens in Pokenechi in a few hours, or even the Diantha episode, so look forward to that. So anyway, thank you for watching. I'm Dustin Benzel, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.